Higher Education and Training Minister Nobuhle Nkabane has now been exposed as a liar. After appointing a slew of ANC members as chairpersons of SETAs and then later withdrawing their appointments, Nkabane told Parliament's Oversight Committee in May that she had made the appointments on the recommendations of an independent panel of experts. She then refused to disclose the identities of the panelists to the committee, but the MPs insisted. After pressure, including an apparent scolding by President Cyril Ramaphosa, Nkabane has now released some of the names. With this act, two lies were immediately exposed. The first is that the panel was never independent. It is made up of departmental officials who ultimately report to the minister. Secondly, it is not true that they donated their services for free. They get paid by the state to do these jobs. And some officials appear to have lied to Parliament too, including possibly the Director General. Hello everyone, welcome back to Joe Talks Politics. I am your host, Joseph Musia. Let's get right into this. After 2 weeks of stonewalling, members of the infamous panel are now officially known, except for one. For a bit of context, this is what Minister Nkabane told MPs only 2 weeks ago.
We appointed very reputable and highly profiled individuals, but on voluntary basis. They don't claim for executing this responsibility on behalf of the minister. We just ask for a panel to oversee and preside over the process on voluntary basis.
So that panel, who were the panel that the minister appointed to do that shortlisting?
Thank you so much for the question again. I believe all of us, we understand Section 11 of the Skills Development Act that says the minister must appoint the chairpersons of the accounting authority. So there is no need for me to come and declare my volunteers, people assisting me voluntarily to execute my responsibilities. I am not in a position. It is the minister. If there is something wrong that you believe it happened with the entire process, better you should, the person who is empowered by the legislation to execute that responsibility. That's an unfortunate part of it.
I will let Lerato Khakau of the DA tell you who they are.
Even though the minister has revealed at least 5 names of the people that she claims served in her committee, you would have noted that in the letter that she sent us, there's one person that is concealed. There's one name whom we do not know who that person is. And simply the reason the minister states that that person is uncomfortable with them being known is ludicrous in my understanding, particularly because we've maintained the point, Chairperson, that it is not up to the minister and whoever her Kespa the Ghost is to decide whether or not they're going to comply with the requests of Parliament or not. It is up to Parliament to dictate those terms, and therefore, although you said that we don't have to go through a summons process, I want to move and urge the committee to consider the following action steps, Chair. The first one, Chair, should be that the people that have been revealed, whose identities have been revealed, all of them must come before this House, this Parliament, to furnish us with a full detail of the minutes of the meetings that they held, as far as the selection and evaluation process is concerned, fully so. And equally, we'd also like to have, in addition, the report subsequently that was compiled and sent to the NSA for the final consideration of the appointment of those names. The people I'm referring to, Chairperson, are Advocate Terimutau. Advocate Terimutau, who the Minister communicated was the chairperson of this panel, however, says that never sat in any meeting. Particularly, the reason why this is a point of interest is because you would know that Advocate Mutau currently has a 2 million rands tender with the city of Johannesburg that comes directly from MMC Loyiso Masuku's department, because MMC Masuku is currently the MMC for cooperative services within the city of Johannesburg. The reason why that is a point of consideration for us and an interest is because the same Loyiso Masuku was appointed as the Food Bev board chairperson. So we want to know exactly what that relationship is, if it exists, one. Two, the second person we're referring to is Asisi Postolani. Asisi Postolani is a former SASCO member, a leader, a former ANC Youth League in the Western Cape leader, who currently serves as the advisor to the minister in her office. Number three, we want Nelisiwe Simane, who's currently the chief of staff of the minister, to also appear before Parliament to give us her contribution in the panel that the minister says she sat in. We also want Mabuza Nkabane to come here, who's the chief director of SETA coordination, to come before this committee to directly account for the contribution they played. The same Mabuza Nkabane, you would recall, lied directly to my face when I asked him whether he knows anything about the process in the panel, and he unequivocally said no, he knows nothing. So he must come and tell us whether he lied then or whether it's the minister lying about him now. The last person would be Rulani Ngwenya, chairperson, who is currently the Deputy Director General for Corporate Services in the Department of Higher Education. These are people that the minister says served in this panel, in addition to the concealed other name. I call him Casper the Ghost.
So they are not independent and they are not donating their time. Of the names she has released, the one person who could be considered somewhat independent would be Advocate Terry Mutau. The problem, though, is that Mutau is said to have missed all the panel's meetings. Then there are the Director General, Dr. Nkosinathi Sishi, and the Chief Director for SETA Coordination, Mabuza Nkabane. Here's a frustrated Khachau on the 30th of May trying to find out if any of the people accompanying the minister on that day knew who was part of the panel.
Ndate Dlamini, Kapukenta Nkabane, what is your job?
I'm Chief Director, SETA Coordination, responsible for SETA performance and governance.
What does that mean in this process? The process of the appointments, how do you fit into the picture?
I run the process administratively. I also have the responsibility to provide technical advice in the process.
So meaning the setups of the meetings, the screening processes, all of those things, that administrative function is yours?
No.
What do you mean then you run? What do you mean? Explain. That in this process you feature with technical support and administrative support. What does that look like?
I will make an example. The gazette, when a gazette needs to be issued, minister cannot prepare a gazette.
So you are nowhere in the middle of the screenings and the nominations involved in any of this. You can say yes.
No.
You're not. Okay, that's fine. DJ Sishi, when a minister of your department that you are the Director General of takes a decision to compile a panel that is responsible for the appointment of people who directly account to you, do you ever get to know what that composition is?
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me start by saying our approach has been that we separate we promote the integrity of the process by ensuring that we stick to AG's advice. So this is the first time that we have gone to this extent, which is when we presented to Parliament, that's what we emphasized, all that way up. Extraordinary measures taken to improve on the integrity of the processes, from the qualifications, the minimum requirements right up to that point. My role would be then once the NSA have looked into the list and it now is approved, to make sure that the machinery of the department provide support and make sure that the orientation programs are done. And so I think that would be the role of the DG then.
The mic is off.
Oh, thank you. DG, do you know who the selection panel for the appointment of NSFAS are?
No.
You don't know? You're saying that with the fear of God in your heart, that you do not know?
Yeah, yes, quite correctly, no. That's what I said.
The question then is, were Sishi and Nkabane lying when they told the committee that they did not know who the members of the panel were? Alternatively, is the minister lying to Parliament about these people's participation? Members want answers. Listen to Sidukanelo Low of the ANC express his frustration.
We must bring the minister here to come and account for everything she said in this committee. She must come and tell us, where did she get the responses where she was giving us to? Because we told her that this panel that she's talking about should have had the people of the department and the same people who lied in front of Parliament, who came in front of us, who are always coming here and filling up and wasting taxpayers' money. How much are we paying? How much are we paying for people to come here and we only have 3 people who are responding to us? It must come to an end. At the next meeting, we must have the DG, we must have the DDG, and we must have the PLOs, and the rest must not arrive here. We must save the money for our students and start focusing the money somewhere. So I'm raising all of this because we are playing with South Africans here. We are playing with the emotions of South Africans, and we are failing the government because of our incompetencies. We can't even run the department because we must every day deal with a mess. Every day we are dealing with damage control as members of Parliament. Every day we must try and see how we put issues into perspective. So I want to put into perspective to say, the minister must come and account. And we can only deal with it and give her our questions, and she must respond to them immediately when we are going to have to deliver when she's here. So the sooner the better she arrives, and then we also summon the DG, so that we're able to get to say what is going to happen, because they must both take accountability on what is happening on the Department of Higher Education. So, Chair, my submission is that we call the minister, the 7 days is going to take long, but because we must follow the law, let's follow the 7 days. Summon them here in Parliament, and we deal with the issues, and there must be consequence management. And there must be consequence management, Chair.
And here's Ashley Sauls of the Patriotic Alliance.
It's clear that, based on what's before us, that the minister has lied to us on the record. And 2, based on the independence of the panel is clearly not independent. And then 2, we must remind the minister that she is legally obligated to tell the committee who all the panelists are, not only some. There's not a opening for discretion. All the names must be provided. And when the minister speaks to us, the assumption is that the minister is the mouthpiece of the entire ministry. So when the minister speaks, we don't look at it as it's the minister only as an individual. So when the minister spoke and misinformed the committee, it is the entire ministry that has done so. As such, when we do have the minister come and account, it should be the minister and all the representatives, the advisors, the minister, the technocrats, both deputy ministers, so that we can understand whose role was which within the process. This particular issue is incumbent on the entire ministry to answer.
Another ANC member is Khaulatli Khabu.
Let me firstly start by probably agreeing with the proposal that the panel that has been presented as the report indicates of the minister must appear before the committee so that they can take the committee into confidence in relation to the process that they had followed in appointing the chairperson or recommending those suitable candidates to be appointed by the minister. But with that being said, Chairperson, I equally want to propose that we must run this process both politically and administratively. You'd understand that before the meeting of the 30th of May, Chairperson, in our interactions, the DG, as he's leading the department, he also indicated that there was no way that he was involved in the process as the leader of the department. On the meeting of the 30th of May, Chairperson, where the minister could not respond to some of the questions, one of the officials also confirmed, I think is the coordinator of the SETAs, who had confirmed that he was involved in the process in a form of receiving your applications and also processing those applications, Chairperson. I think we must not take that thing lightly. We must also find a way of processing this matter. And I think, Chairperson, it's also important that the DG, including the minister, in their responses and when they also appear, I will also propose that we should have a separate meeting, Chairperson, that the minister must come before the committee, including the DG, so that they can clarify some of these things as and when we are also calling the panel. Meaning that, Chairperson, the panel must not only appear alone, the DG must form part of that panel, the minister must form part of that panel, Chairperson. Part of the things that the minister and the DG would have to explain is their interpretation, and would plead with them not to refer us to Google or encyclopedia. It will be their interpretation of an independent panel. Because what we are seeing here is nothing independent, but rather an extension of an administration office of the DG. In fact, to a large extent here, Honorable Chairperson, the impression that has been created in the society is that the minister was at the forefront of all of this. But in actual fact, when you look at the panel that has been presented, it's actually an extension of the DG's office.
This is a very serious matter. It is clear that at some point, Minister Nkabane lied to Parliament. At least 4 of the people mentioned here are employees of her department. It would not have been a scandal if it had come to light that they were part of the panel, because it is their job to support the minister in carrying out her responsibilities anyway. So why was the minister so insistent on keeping their identities secret? Is it possible there was no panel? I mean, if the officials lied to Parliament, it could have an immediate implication for their careers. If Nkabane is lying to Parliament, on the other hand, she might have a level of protection. The President could move her to a portfolio where she would not have to account to this committee. Oh, no, it's not impossible. Ask Thembi Simelane. Her troubles were taken away with a presidential signature. She still sits in the cabinet but does not have to deal with the Chacharache members of the Justice Committee. There, problem solved. So if President Cyril Ramaphosa's record on such matters is anything to go by, and if Nobuhle Nkabane lied to Parliament, she might not have much to fear. After all, she met with the President more than a week ago, and we still haven't heard the outcome of that. If the information the minister released to the committee is the same one she gave to the President, she qualified for immediate firing. And yet, here we are. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and share it. And please subscribe if you have not done so yet. See you in the next one.